Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. This is Gabe Collins. If you haven't seen any of my videos before, just to give you a little insight as to who I am a senior in college that's about to graduate and head to my first job in tech sales in Dallas, Texas. I have had two tech internships and two sales focused roles, and my goal here on this channel is to provide insights as to how I would break into tech sales by getting tech internships, as well as my journey of where I'm at and where I'm headed and learning lessons on the way. Today, I'm here to talk a little bit about the balance between college and sales. This is definitely a topic that hits closer to home as someone who goes to a college that doesn't really enable any salespeople. I do want to preface this video, though, by saying that there are some colleges that offer professional sales programs. And if you're in high school and you're considering sales, definitely check out colleges that have professional selling programs because that'll put you ahead of most other college students if you did nothing outside of the classroom. So, to begin this topic, I'm going to walk through a little bit of insight on my experience and why I have the opinion that I do. My college does not have a professional sales program. They do have a sales team that competes, but they just developed it. And so it's too late for me to join that. College for me has really been nothing but a waste of time professionally. Now, don't get me wrong. Personally and socially, I've developed and become the person that I believe I'm supposed to be before entering into corporate America. But if I was to look just professionally, it's been a total waste of time. College is so general, and I don't think they even try to hide this anymore. I feel like everyone knows that college is just very general. The first 2 years are just a continuation of high school where you're learning general education courses that really don't mean anything to you. Now, if you're someone who loves learning, maybe you find them interesting. Me personally, I love learning, but I love learning things that I care about. But general psychology and where the occipital lobe is, I really couldn't care less about. My college has two sales classes and they cover general topics as well. It's really good for someone who knows zero about sales, but as someone who did a lot of work outside the classroom, I gained no value from it other than a few practice mock pitches that I had to give throughout those two classes. So that's kind of been the general idea of my college experience. To give you a little idea as to my outside of classroom sales experience, I had my first internship at a tech company called Worldwide Technology the summer after my freshman year. I learned general corporate politics and how to conduct myself in a professional environment. I also learned a few different basics of enterprise sales in the sled division. I then got my first full sales cycle job with an apparel company called Fresh Prince. I learned so much in this job, and I had an amazing manager who also enabled me to sell and taught me a lot about how to sell and general resilience and grit and mentality when it comes to sales. I then got an internship with Dell Technologies in Austin, Texas. This was 100% the largest learning curve I've ever had. I had to learn how to cold call and speak about Dell's data center portfolio, which was very complex for me at the time when breaking into tech. Finally, I got an e commerce startup job in my local college town selling to local businesses. Now, what's the difference between the value I've gained between college and my outside of the classroom experiences? The general disposition that I feel towards the value I've gotten from college when it comes to sales is zero. I can count with my fingers on one hand how many valuable experiences I've had when it comes to sales in college. Now, as for the value that you get from selling outside of the classroom, 100%. To give you an idea, the way that I've been able to achieve and earn the positions I've been in have been completely from value I've extracted outside of the classroom. Before I had any internships, I was learning, I was trying my hardest to learn sales, tech, so that I was relevant. After having that role, I was learning the full sales cycle, which led me into my ability to get the next internship, which rolled into the startup job, into two tech job offers before I graduated college. I think every single person who's interested in sales should sell outside of the classroom. I sold apparel and e commerce. A few other products or services that I've seen that other college students sell have been you can be an ambassador for companies, you can do marketing work, which is a little different. There's also multi level marketing or pyramid scheme jobs that often involve pest control. A few companies that I would look out for Aptive and Hawks. There's also Cutco, which is knives. If I were you, I would stay away from MLM or pyramid scheme jobs. They often involve doing door to door, which, if you're trying to break into tech, doesn't really correlate. It's the biggest value you're going to extract that would correlate to tech sales is objection handling, negotiating, and really just talking to people and getting rejected all the time. But if you want to make a lot of money, I've heard average reps making between $30 and $50,000 in a summer. So it's definitely something to consider if you want to make a lot of money. Something that I also want to talk about is for the friends that I made at my internship that had those professional sales programs felt years ahead of me. I had to play a lot of catch up in order to compete with them and be able to hold my sales acumen to their level. Now, that drove me when I was in an internship with them. I really leveled up my sales game being around people that had a lot more experience than I did and a lot more education around the topic. But even though they had those in college experiences, I still believe that outside of the classroom sales experiences are the most valuable. Let me give you a little story on why. A majority of the other interns that I worked with at Dell had leadership experiences in their sales organizations and leadership communities. They're on sales teams where they competed and won money. They just had a lot of experience. But they didn't have a revenue number behind their names most of the time. And what I mean by this is during my Fresh Prince job, I sold $85,000 worth of apparel in 9 months. I was able to put that number on my resume to show employers that there was an undeniable number that proved I was able to sell. When it comes to that internship that I got, the only reason that I got that job and was able to hang with all these people who were presidents of their club and very involved in their colleges was because I had that revenue number behind my name. So if you can get a job in college where you're able to sell, that is extremely powerful and I highly recommend doing it. To summarize everything up, the classroom is important. Employers will notice if you have a bad GPA. It's definitely something that you want to pay attention to, and I recommend trying hard in class to get good grades. But for every percentage of effort that you put into the classroom, double it and put it towards a sales job outside of college. I think that is going to propel you the most, make you learn the fastest, make you ramp up the fastest when you get a full time job, and put yourself into a position to be highly successful and be making well into the six figures. Thank you for listening today. I'm really excited to hear what your thoughts are on this topic and your experiences. Let me know if you've had a completely different experience or similar experience in the comments. Also, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I would love to have further conversations about sales or anything business. Finally, like and subscribe on this video if you want to see more sales content. I will be posting more on my journey when I start my job, as well as sales tips and tricks and funny sales content. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video.